condolences to George Atkinson's family. I don't know if you guys saw that. George Atkinson passed away this week. And I was very close to him at the Raiders, and he was a tremendous mentor to me when I moved into the head coach role at the end. We had a chance to meet every morning. For me, it's kind of heartbroken a little bit. And last time I talked to him was right before training camp. He'd gone through some surgery procedures, and now he's lost. And he was a tremendous player in the National Football League, and was a longtime mentor to a lot of people there, and especially me. I'll be grateful forever for the wisdom I learned from him. That being said, I'll take any questions you guys may have.
It's always hard to start off after those pitch. It's always hard to ask the
Yeah, no,
question
we have to celebrate the life as well, and I think we all get that. For me, to not say something about that, for as important as he was to me, I would have felt like crap. So I'll take your questions. We'll be good.
What is the challenge that you faced with those guys this week?
Yeah, I think, you guys have probably seen it. Their kickoff unit, they have really good coverage players, but the kicker's done a tremendous job with what everybody's calling those dirty kicks and the ability to put it on the ground, the ability to put it in the corners. So that's been the challenge for everyone that's played against them, and it's certainly going to be a challenge for us. You can only do so many different things to work on those catches, but as we've all understood here, when that ball hits the ground as a football, it can go anywhere. And that's what it's doing when you look at the film. So the biggest challenge would be to field the ball cleanly so we can at least get started. Because when the ball hits the ground, it's definitely an advantage for the kickoff team. They kind of get that click a little bit sooner than the return team does, and gives them a chance to get going. And if you muff it at all or can't get a clean catch on it, it certainly gives them the advantage again. So that's what we've been working on the most.
So does that mean lining up the returners closer, not farther from the goal line, I guess?
Well, we can be a little bit closer, hopefully, to the catch. And the other thing is, we've been kind of cheating a little bit the way we line up to try to get whoever we wanted to the ball at that particular time. So, yes, we're going to have to cheat our alignment, whether it's with width or whether it's with distance closer to the ball or further away from it so you can play the big hop. We're just going to try to figure it out as the game goes on. But there's a definite place that the ball seems to hit all the time, or within a parameter where the ball seems to hit all the time for him. But it's really, again, we've had that comment about if you want the ball to bounce back to you, go to the gym. And, well, this is what it's doing. When it hits the ground, it's been going everywhere.
Rich, how do you feel like Brandon managed the leg on Sunday night, and how's he been dealing with it this week?
Yeah, he had a good week. Really thought he had a good Thursday last week, and he had a good warm-up. I think we extended the line a little bit on the big one there, and he hit it good, just came up a little bit short. I think we underestimated that open end of the stadium to some degree. I think the one certainly he would want back is before the half. I know he thinks for sure that should have been a gimme for him. But I feel like he's back to some degree and really better than he's been. I thought he had a real good day yesterday and anticipate him having a good day tomorrow.
Good with it. Excuse me. You good with his kickoffs too, as well in the Pittsburgh game?
Yeah, I thought he did a great job in the kickoffs in the Pittsburgh game. I thought the kickoff team played really well. We looked at drive starts to start the second half was the 26, and then it went to 23 and to 23, and I thought our kickoff team did a great job covering. A lot of it had to do where Brandon placed the ball. He caused the one muff. A little bit of he hit a drive kick of his own, and then he put the one over in the right corner. Was really good for us. So. Hopefully keep that going in the same direction, and hopefully our kickoff team can play well again.
What's the loss of Neiman for you? He was in a lot of tackles.
Yeah, and he was real smart and had a lot of different skills that we could, we moved him all over the place. We put him in a lot of different positions, not only on kickoff, but in punt return and what we were doing on kickoff return as well. And so we'll see how long and when, but it'll be a loss for this week for sure.
Rich, when Romeo takes that pause after he catches the punts to survey things, I know Jaden's done that in the past. I'm assuming that's a personal preference over a coaching point, or do you guys coach certain guys to do that?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I think sometimes his pause is a little long, but I thought he probably had his best game. He had the 111-yard return, and then we got the penalty on the other one. We had a drive start, I think, at the 40, and then it ended up going to the plus 45. So those were two big drive starts that we got points off of. So, but I also think, he's a work in progress. I think after every practice rep and after every game rep, he's getting a little bit better. He sees it a little bit differently. And I thought that was his best look coming in. He's done a really good job in the red zone, and continually, he'll get better, and I know he's enjoying doing it, so.
Is the pause just to let the play come to you and see where things are?
The pause at times, if those guys don't settle on the hands or they can get even with you and they can actually run by the play. So there's a time for it and there's a time to get it as fast as you possibly can. And I think he's trying to work on when to do which one.
It's supposed to be windy, or rather windy on Sunday. Obviously, that's a big factor for you guys, but how do you plan for it? How do you practice for it? When maybe you might not get
We have a pretty windy practice facility over here on both sides. But it's the same for both on game day. I've always said that. The last time we played at home was a very difficult wind. I remember us, talking about it. We ended up, fourth quarter was to our advantage to some degree when the wind flipped. But it's just, something that you're expected to play in when you come to Lambeau. It's certainly different in our stadium than it is on the practice field because of the bowl, but it's the same for both, and hopefully we do a good job figuring it out.
Is Pittsburgh the hardest place to kick in the league?
Oh, I think you'd have to ask kickers. Boswell seems to have conquered that stadium pretty well. He's done a tremendous job for a long time. A lot of respect for the way he plays. And I would say that one open end where we kicked the big one in and was short has been difficult in the past. But I do think Brandon came back in the second half and played pretty well, with his kicks. And Bosworth, like I said, has seemed to have conquered that stadium. But notoriously, it's been an issue for players to go in there and be successful on any given Sunday.
Is the field part of that too, or is it just a...
For us, the only thing I can go by is the way the field was this particular game, and it was good enough. It was good enough to kick in. Now, there was a bunch of different surface structures with the pit had just played on the game 3:30 before, so there was a lot of divots in there. And if you look at the end zone film of the kickers, both of them have changed the spots according to some of the divots that were in the ground. So that was a little bit of an issue to some degree, but I think it didn't have any bearing on really the kicks from either kicker. It's just a matter of they have to move the spot a little bit to get where they can get good grass for the plant foot.